Hey guys, this is Jonathan Martin. Today I want to talk to you about the topic of soy. It's a big topic, so I even wrote down some notes to kind of keep me on track. It's a controversial topic. You'll find information on both sides of whether or not it's a healthy product to be consuming. I want to share with you some of the facts today and kind of start you on your own journey of finding out the information on your own. But I also want to approach it from just a common sense way. I just want to talk some sense about soy. Now, when I'm talking about these products, I'm not talking about the traditionally eaten fermented soy products such as miso and natto and tempeh. These have been eaten for a long time and they're healthy. I'm talking about the non-fermented ones. These products such as tofu and soy milk and soy burgers and soy chips and oil and flour and even infant formulas and TVP, textured vegetable protein, and these are the products I'm talking about, the ones that you'll flip over labels and see that it's one of the ingredients. Here's the deal with soy. You have a plant here that has a lot of defensive mechanisms in it. It has a lot of inhibitors, and they can wreak havoc inside of our system, such as it has trypsin inhibitors in it, which is trypsin is a digestive enzyme, and it can prevent and suppress the absorption of protein. And so you're going to have protein deficiency, and you're going to have metabolic imbalances, and that's going to cause digestive problems and even pancreatic problems. Also, it has what's called phytoestrogens or isoflavonoids. These are estrogen-like chemicals. They're not identical to the human hormone estrogen, but they're estrogen-like. They act in the same way. They're not quite as potent, but they'll fill in the receptor site on the human cell where estrogen usually goes. So if you have like a hormonal imbalance, this is not something you want to be eating, because that's just going to worsen it. And you can even create the problem by having it, and you can create an imbalance. It's especially in women, but it can also create imbalances in males as well. Also, it can suppress the thyroid, soy can, and this is not something that we need to be doing in our society. We have enough thyroid problem as it is. What it is it has something called goitrogens in it, and they're going to block the conversion of T3 to T4, which is your inactive hormone switching to the active hormone. So people complain about thyroid sluggish thyroid and low metabolism enough already. We don't need to be eating something that's just going to mess up that conversion from T3 to T4 even anymore. So that's another reason. It also has something in it called phytic acid, and this is just an inhibitor to mineral absorption. So you're not going to have less absorption of your minerals such as calcium and magnesium and zinc and iron, etc. So, and all of these things, they're contained in the plant. And why does the plant have all of these? Well, if you think about plants, every plant has its own defensive nature to it. Some are very obvious, like roses. They'll have thorns on them, and this is to prevent it from consumers and predators and stuff like that. Even plants will have what's called a chemical defense to them. It might not be as obvious as a thorn, or some will have like a strong odor to it that will keep away consumers. But in soy, or like take wheat for example, that has gluten in it. Soy has all of these chemicals in it to prevent it from, being eaten into extinction, for example. So it's natural for these things to occur in there. How do we get around it, though? Fermentation. We properly process it, and we've been eating soy for centuries. Other cultures have, with proper preparation of it, and they ferment it, and it reduces all of these effects that it can have on us. So that's the plant. Now, most of the soy that is grown in America, unfortunately, is genetically modified, and that is a whole range of problems right there. You can read more about that. Just look into the work of Jeffrey Smith, and he's the most renowned expert on genetically modified organisms. He's written plenty of books. I have one of them called Seeds of Deception, and it's a fascinating read. But you can look into his work and find out more about genetically modified soy, and it's not something you want to be messing with. So unfortunately, it's all genetically modified. Also, soy from the time it's planted until the time it's harvested gets sprayed 12 times with pesticides and herbicides and fungicides, and it's laden. It's just bathed in chemicals. Also, when it's finally harvested, it goes through a refinement process, and it goes through an intense chemical procedure where it literally has to go and get dunked into hexane, which is one of the chemicals that gets used. And hexane is a neurotoxic explosive chemical, which is we get it from it's the byproduct of refined gasoline. And would you want to eat something that is dunked in hexane, sprayed 12 times with chemicals, genetically modified to begin with, that is not fermented and prepared properly, so it has all of these chemical reactions that are going to wreak havoc in your own body? No. I know I don't recommend any of my clients doing it. It is not healthy. I don't care what people are saying about it. You need to look into the research yourself. In fact, and don't even take my word for it. Just because Jonathan says so, doesn't mean that you're off the hook. You need to do the research for yourself. And I want to give you a couple of resources in order to do that. There's a book called The Whole Soy Story, written by Kayla Daniel. And you can get that on Amazon or wherever, but The Whole Soy Story, great book to read about that. Also, you can go to the Price Pottinger Nutrition Foundation. They have a great website, one of my favorites. Go to ppnf.org. You can find out more information on soy, as well as they have libraries of information on nutrition in general. There's a lot of videos out online that you can watch other professionals talking about soy and get a broader view of it and a bigger perspective. Also, go Google the Cornucopia Institute. They've done a lot of research into the processing of soy, and they can give some more insight on that. Look into the work of Jeffrey Smith for genetically modified organisms. Natural News is a newsletter that I get that always has great information on a whole range of topics, but soy happens to be one of them that I've seen in there. So Natural News, you can check them out as well. So there's a lot of information out there, and you need to weigh it for yourself and make the right decision. My recommendation: drop the soy unless it's one of those fermented products. And definitely want to go organic, so you can stay away from all of the chemicals that are being added to it. So eat it in its natural state. That's really all I got to say. If you have questions about soy, you want to learn a little bit more, you can contact me. Just email me, jmartin@tnfitnesslink.com. All right, we'll see you soon, guys.